Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Heather Lou here of Closet Core Patterns. It's December 1st, 2025, which can only mean one thing. Not only is it Crew Pattern Reveal Day, but it's also the last pattern that we are releasing this year as part of our Decades collection, which of course was our opportunity to explore kind of fashion history, look at some iconic silhouettes and garments, and think about how we could approach them and make them feel relevant and current for today. So we are ending the year with the Zelda skirt, which I'm wearing, and you can see behind me. And normally it's our tradition with Crew that in November we release a party dress. And we did do that this year with the Celia dress, of course, inspired by an iconic design by Ossie Clark. But this month we're ending the year in December with a party skirt. So potentially you could have multiple looks for the holidays coming up. And Zelda is of course named after Zelda Fitzgerald, which should give you an indication of what kind of decade we were inspired by this year. Zelda was the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald, and she was a pretty iconic 1920s figure, a bit of a party girl, and also a bit of a tragic figure. But when we were looking at possibly doing a 1920s inspired pattern, she felt like a fitting muse for us. Now, this might not at first glance feel very 20s, and the 20s are not, well, I love them as an era of kind of liberation for women and probably one of the most transformational decades in terms of fashion from what people were wearing previously. 20s fashion isn't always my favorite. I don't always love those kind of loose fitting sack dresses, but I do love a dropped waist in the right context, and that was really the starting point for Zelda. So it's probably more fitted and more shaped than a traditional 20s gown or dress or skirt, but that dropped waist is really important. And as we've been kind of finding with decades this year is that it's very rare that something is kind of isolated in a really neatly defined decade. All of these ideas kind of bleed into the next decade. They kind of come up again and again. Ideas get reinterpreted, every 20, 30 years. This seems to be the cycle. And so I would say it's kind of appropriate we're ending with this design because it is straddling a lot of decades. So we have this dropped waist from the 20s. We have this kind of full skirt and a midi length that feel very kind of 50s new look. There's also something kind of 80s with this dropped waist, which of course came back into the 80s. But then we've been seeing this silhouette of skirt kind of everywhere and ready to wear right now up into the 2020s. And so I think it's fitting that the last pattern we're ending with kind of straddles all of these eras. And you can kind of see how something starts in one place and then just over time morphs, gets rediscovered, gets reinterpreted, and comes back again and again. So let's talk a little bit about the details of this skirt. One of my favorite things is how clean and fitted it is. It's a high-waisted skirt. So if I lift the top up here, you can see there's no waistband. It's all faced on the inside. And so you get this really sleek, clean, kind of minimalist line. You have seam lines here. I love the shaping we've done here. So this line is kind of curved. It's coming down. And you can see it forms this really perfect point on the side. And I think this gives the pattern this really interesting kind of architectural flair. In the back, it's the same thing. It's very fitted. It's shaped with seam lines here. And we've inserted an invisible zipper again to give that kind of very clean, sleek line. And then we've got these gathered skirt panels that are quite gathered and they give a lot of fullness. And then it ends at a midi length about mid-calf. It's just this really fun midi length skirt that I think can be worn in a lot of different ways. In terms of styling, we played with a few options. We're playing with some mixing and matching from pieces earlier in our decades. So we've got the Josephine top. This was part of a two-piece matching set we did in the summer. We did it in the same kind of cranberry poplin, and it's kind of giving holiday Barbie, but I'm here for it. And then of course, I'm wearing the Donnie bodysuit, and you can see the Donna bodysuit here. In this case, we've done it black on black, and this just feels so chic and editorial and very sophisticated. And it feels, in both kind of cases here, you're seeing a matching set, but done in two very different ways. I'm also wearing it with Donna. I think this is a really great combination, but honestly, I cannot wait to wear this with like a little cropped cashmere sweater. I think it would look really cool with maybe a heathered gray vintage sweatshirt. A button-down shirt tucked in would feel very kind of Carolina Herrera and very polished. We kind of thought it would end the year with this holiday skirt, but again, I think there's a lot of ways to make this feel more casual. And again, we've been seeing it in ready to wear. There's all sorts of cool ways that you could be wearing this skirt. I'm really excited to see the fabrics people are using and how they're kind of interpreting this design. In all three cases, we've done this in poplin. So my favorite fabrics for this are kind of more structured wovens. Shirtings are really good. Something that have a little bit of structure that will hold up to all of this shaping with the seam lines, but will also give you nice gathers and then will kind of hold a bit of volume through the skirt. So in this case, we've done it in our crisp poplin from Core Fabrics, which has a very crisp hand, almost like a, I don't want to call it paper, but it's just got this very crisp hand and really holds its shape in a beautiful way. Like I said, in this cranberry color. In this sample, we've done it in our silky poplin, so it's a little bit lighter. It's got a little bit more drape. You can kind of see maybe the difference between the two, just depending on how crisp your fabric is. You could also probably try this in a drapey fabric. It's going to give a much more soft and fluid effect. I think if you did it in like a floral rayon challis or something could be really pretty, and I'd love to see that if you do indeed make it that way. If you like these samples, of course, like every month, you can get complete kits, fabric kits over at Core Fabrics. I think we're doing some with the crisp poplin and the silky poplin, depending on how much structure or stability you want. And Zelda comes together pretty quickly. It's a pretty speedy make. Whether or not you want to get one of the kits from us or not, or maybe you have the perfect fabric in your stash, I think it's the perfect pattern to kind of make in December when you need something maybe quick for a party, but don't have 3 days to make a beautiful, elaborate dress. And of course, you get Zelda by joining us in Crew. So we have our monthly membership, which means you can kind of dip in and out, or you can join us for unlimited, which means you get all 24 patterns in our past catalog and the next year of patterns. We are starting a new theme, a new concept next year. We're going in a very different direction than we did this year, but I think you're going to love it. And with Unlimited, you also get 15% off at Core Fabrics, which includes getting 15% off all of the kits that we produce, 15% off Closet Core patterns and courses, Deer and Doe patterns. And then you get access to Gabby, our fitting concierge, who is just an exceptional fitting guru. And she's there every week. So if you're struggling with projects, it's really like the person that you're just going to want to go to help you fix whatever you're struggling with in your sewing practice. And of course, whether or not you're joining us monthly or unlimited, you get access to our Crew community, which is a private online space. It is not on social media, and it's just a wonderful kind of old school community forum where you can talk about sewing and talk about what you're making. So that's it for Zelda this month. I know I'm really excited about my olive green version. I know I'm going to be wearing this all winter long. I can't wait to put a pair of boots and a sweatshirt with this. It's going to be great. And of course, we can't wait to see what you are making. So that's it for this month. Can't wait to see you in Crew.